Welcome to the Port City Plate Podcast, presented by Bienville Bites Food Tour. The Port City Plate Podcast, serving up the food, history, and people of Mobile, Alabama, for people who love the Port City. I am your host, Chris Andrews, and I'm super excited today to welcome Lacey Evans on the show. Lacey is the owner and the master baker over at Dropout Bakery Company, located in downtown Mobile. And Dropout has been one of the newest, hottest places in Mobile since they opened up recently. And inside the Innovation Portal, St. Louis Street, and they've really been the talk of the town. It started with their king cakes, and it's moved on. You know, they've got birthday cakes and croissants and cookies and just a ton of other treats, and I can't wait to talk about them all today on the show. So, Lacey, welcome.
That is so cool.
To the Port City Plate Podcast.
I'm happy to be here.
I'm excited.
Talking about food, the best topic
Absolutely.
in the world.
Absolutely. We could do this all the time, right?
Oh, yeah, every week. Every week.
So before we start talking about Dropout, tell me about your background and where you grew up and stuff.
So I am originally from here in Mobile, Alabama. I graduated from St. Paul's School in 2018, so I'm still a baby. And then right after high school, I was like, you know what? I am going to move far, far away. I'm going to do something totally different, be creative, and move. So I did. Right after high school, I moved to Los Angeles, and where I attended FITM, which is Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandise. So I went for fashion. It was about a 2-year college, and in like the middle of it, I just realized that it really wasn't for me. There I was able to meet my business partner, Will. He was, and not in fashion, he was in interior design.
Okay.
But we both were just kind of feeling as though it wasn't for us. I knew since probably junior year of high school that I wanted to be my own boss. That year I actually started learning how to make websites. I started my first little business, which was a drop shipping business, where I would just buy the products from China and send them straight to the buyer. Okay. So that was pretty cool. That got me into the business side of things. Learned a lot during that. And then when I realized fashion wasn't for me, I knew that I had to make a move and not waste my time, money, spin my wheels, all those good things. So I dropped out. And that was right before the pandemic hit. I was able to move back home because I also thought, you know, if I can do something out in California, which everybody thinks, you know, I got to go to California to make it big. You can do the same thing where somewhere will appreciate the creativity. It's a little bit saturated out there. So that was one of the big reasons that really pushed me to come back home. So, yeah. Once I came home, I had so much time on my hands being stuck in the apartment that I lived in at the moment. And I just put that time to good use and started doing something that I loved. That did not really plan on making a business out of it. It was just kind of a hobby. And I used YouTube as my learning tool, which is so funny. Usually people are like, YouTube? Like, that's entertainment. Well, not for me. Right. That's where I learned how to make websites, drop shipping, all that stuff before I got into baking. But yeah, so with the time I had, I just constantly baked for Will and I. And then I would use social media to just post it on my story or on my page. And I would get a lot of messages saying like, hey, that looks so good. Can you make me that for my birthday? And I was like, that's interesting. I'm getting a lot of interest, so this must be in high demand. So I just created a little Instagram, and from there, it's kind of history. Yeah. Instagram.
So did you have a passion for cooking growing up or anything like that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
There were so many signs that I never paid attention to. I was always the kid that would ask Santa for a little easy bake oven. I would, like 8 years old, I would come home from school, finish my homework, and then turn the TV on right to Rachel Ray. Yeah. That Food Network was my go-to channel. And I would go over to my friend's house and like make them watch Rachel Ray with me. And one of my best friends, still to this day, her mom came to the bakery the other day and was reminiscing on that memory. And I just thought that was so funny. So I was a huge Food Network kid. Cupcake Wars, right up my alley. So there were early signs.
Right.
But I would never like get into the kitchen and actually act on the interest, that's what, didn't make me ever think I would be in the food world.
Yep.
I was just not into it at that point.
And I do want to ask you too about, so you had to have had a passion for fashion.
Yeah.
Right? To move out to California.
Uh-huh. Sure did.
Talk a little bit about that, I guess.
So I always thought I was going to be a model, and that's really where it started. I was really into photography, not taking the pictures, but having the pictures taken of me. And content, Instagram, all that type things. It got really big when I was in high school, when I was like 9th grade, is like traveling the world for content and posting it and getting paid. That just became really big when I was a teenager. So that's what I really got into, is content, learning Instagram, staying on top of their algorithm, all that stuff.
Okay.
And that's where I got my knack for social media as well.
Yeah.
That's when I was really into modeling.
So Dropout Bakery, the name comes from, obviously, you're dropping out of college, of fashion school.
Yeah, exactly.
So tell me about what made you decide to come up with the name, and where did the name come from ultimately?
So I do know that Mobile, was a little conservative at times, and I really wanted to push the envelope, not too much to where people wouldn't understand or be interested in what I'm selling, but just enough to where it kind of intrigues people. Like, what does that mean? And so that's kind of where I came up with the name. I wanted something a little interesting, intriguing, getting people thinking. And then it also kind of ties into a little success story. Yeah. So that's where I came up with that.
I love that. I love the name.
Thank you.
That's a great name. And it is. It sounds. It does. It rolls off the tongue very easily.
Yeah.
As
and
well.
It's got a story behind it, which people love a story.
Absolutely.
I love a story.
Yep.
So.
I also dropped out of college as well.
Did you?
Yep.
Oh
took a few classes and stuff like that. I was going to be a history teacher at one time. And,
oh my gosh. And look, you're into history of food. How cool is that?
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Tying it together.
So, no, you don't have to be a college graduate to be a successful entrepreneur, especially.
Right. Now, if you're going to be a doctor, you better be going to school. You ain't touching me. But, yeah.
So go back to your early days, really early days of when you started doing this. And like I said, you had people asking you to make birthday cakes and stuff like that. And you thought maybe this could be a business.
Yeah.
What were you doing as far as to try to get the word out to other people during that time?
That's a great question. So I started my business with one pan. And that to me is like a crazy thought, because now I don't have enough pans. Like I literally am sitting on like 70 pans, and I need like 10 more. But with that one pan, I was able to push out, as many cakes as I possibly could. And then going from there, I would just kind of add on little by little things that I would need, adding new colors, adding new decorations. And that was the slow way that I was able to sustain a small business. And the way that I was able to push out my name is through other people, is just making sure each item that went out of my door was like 1,000% of what I would expect to receive from somebody. And I actually haven't spent one penny, even to this day, right now, like 2 years later, on marketing. I haven't spent one penny. All my marketing has been in-house, ourselves. If, we can't do it, then nobody else can probably do it the way that we're looking to have it done. So just high expectations lead to really high reviews, which people talk. So if it's not, what you would want to receive, people are going to talk and tell people that. And if it is what you would want to receive, people are really, really going to talk and tell.
Right.
So that word of mouth has been our top marketing.
Well, I know the first time I had your anything that you had baked was one of your king cakes in early 2022.
Yep, you pulled right up at the Wheeler Loft.
Oh yeah, pulled right up, got a king cake, and I did. I told a lot of people about it, that word of mouth, and I know later on that Mardi Gras season, more and more people started talking about you and started talking about your king cakes and asking me if I'd had it. And I was like, oh, yeah, I've had it, yeah. And so, that word of mouth, it started spreading pretty fast.
It did. And it was that king cake off contest as well.
Right.
We were the winners of one of those little contests that go on during Mardi Gras. And that also got us really in the spotlight because then the news picked us up. I got a call from News 5 from Devin Walsh. I said, no way am I talking to Devin right now. Like, this is crazy. I never thought in years that I would be able to go on the news and be able to feel so comfortable about what I'm doing. That's when you know you love it, is when you can talk for days about it. So
because it's hard when those lights come on. It's hard.
It's hard. Yeah, I knew. I was like, I'm comfortable with what I'm doing. I'm able to talk about it. Like, this is what I am meant to do.
So talk about your king cakes and how you make those and what makes them stand out. What makes them unique? Because they are unique, and I think it's I'll let you talk about it. But
they're unique, and what is really interesting is we use croissant dough to make it.
Okay.
So it's really fluffy. And that dough just tastes so good. So from the dough being just from scratch to the filling being from scratch, everything in that king cake is made from scratch. And we do amp up the flavors by using brown butter. So rather than just regular butter like normal people, butter, cream cheese, cinnamon, we go the extra mile. We do brown butter, cream cheese, cinnamon, vanilla beans, salt. That little bit of salt gives you that perfect balance for the sweet, not too much. So it really is a good king cake, and we fill it nicely too.
Yeah, it is. I love the brown butter cream cheese. That's my go-to.
That's our top seller.
Yeah.
And what's fun is each year we'll come out with a. We'll always have our brown butter cream cheese. We'll always have our pecan praline, and then we have a third specialty flavor that is always new each year, which is fun.
Yeah, your king cakes were so good. They were the king cake of our Mardi Gras tours that we had, our floats and food tours.
That was
with
exciting.
Bienville Bites. Yeah. So at the end of the food tour, we had your king cakes for everybody to enjoy, and I know everybody loved it. Had great reviews from everybody.
Oh, that's great.
So they loved it. Yeah.
I'm so excited about that.
So and like I said, we talked about it, early days of that first king cake I got from you. I picked it up at your apartment that you were living in, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
you started out in your apartment. Mm-hmm. Now you've moved on to bigger and better things. You've got your own kitchen and all, right? So talk about the transition going from being a home-based bakery to your location that you have now.
So the transition happened so fast. After our first news segment about king cakes, I even have the segment still to this day and rewatch it, because in that segment I said, I predict that we will have a storefront in about 2 years. And it was 3 months later.
Wow.
It was 3 tiny months later. But a lot can happen in a month that you don't even expect. So we were lucky enough to meet Downtown Alliance Clan, Jessica White, Fred, Maggie, Miss Carol, all those beautiful, amazing people supported me. And I remember the first day that Jessica picked something up. She had pedophores for her girls' weekend, and she loved them, so she just kept coming back and back. And I just was able to develop a really good relationship with them. And Fred actually introduced us to Innovation Portal, which is Todd Greer. He's the director of Innovation Portal. And they were looking for a little cafe to put on their west wing. And we were looking for a space to go into. Yep. And ironic enough, it was a block away. So we were speaking to Todd one day, touring the space, and it was the perfect space for us. It was industrial, all white brick, beautiful, everything we hoped for. So we were really wanting to make it work, but we didn't really know if we could sell 100 or even 50 pastries in a day. I didn't know what the demand was like. I did know, however, I did have people calling me when I was in my apartment saying, I'm circling downtown looking for your bakery that doesn't exist. And I just knew, I was like, if we are in a location, like, there will be demand, people will come. So Todd actually was like, you know what? Just try it. Just try it out. Like, come set up. It was May 7th, Mother's Day weekend. Come set up a table, bring pastries, whatever you think you can sell, and we'll see. No strings attached, no obligations. Let's just test it out. And that's something you just don't ever hear these days, like somebody actually wanting to help.
Right.
Without any gains. So that's exactly what we did. We brought a table over, we spruced it up, put a few plants in there, made it what we would want it to look like for just a pop-up little location. And oh my goodness, May 7th, we sold out in 30 minutes.
That's crazy.
I was like, Chris, this is insane. Like, people actually want a bakery here, which was perfect timing because Pullman's was going down. And,
right.
And it was just the perfect time for another bakery to emerge. So we were like, this location is wonderful. We're going to just keep going, growing, seeing what we can do. So now we've like tripled, quadrupled the amount of pastries that we're making, and we're still selling out, which is unbelievable and amazing. So the space is perfect for us. Innovation Portal has helped us so much, thanks to Downtown Alliance being able to connect.
Yeah, that's
the
awesome.
two.
And y'all
cool.
just expanded there too, right? So
absolutely. They actually just installed, as an Innovation Portal, just installed a brand new kitchen, shiny silver marble table, just gorgeous state-of-the-art kitchen. And we're able to pump out mass quantities and not having to hand roll all the croissants now, which gave you some muscles. Gave those boys some muscles. But yeah, it's been absolutely amazing being able to create in such a beautiful, inspiring space.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
It is.
One thing I like about your business too is that your menu is always changing, and so you can go in there today and get something totally different than what you got last week or a week a few weeks ago. So how do you come up with some of the recipes that you come up with, some of the creativity in your menu and all that?
So I myself am a huge foodie, but when I go to places, I tend to order the same things over and over, which can burn me out. I'm my own worst enemy with that. I burn myself out of these amazing places. So I kind of wanted to create something where somebody can come, like you just said, this week, and then come again next week and order something totally different that they didn't even see on the table. So it would seem very unsustainable, but really it doesn't take much more effort to create new flavors for each week. So yes, we come out with a totally new menu each week, starting Thursday. We're open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we base it off of a theme each week, and which helps me come up with flavors easier than you would think. So one week was movie theater, and I was able to come up with flavors from the cookie dough bites to the salted caramel popcorn. Just fun, like really fun flavors.
That's cool.
Coke, chocolate cake, so we try and tie flavors in with each theme each week, which helps me.
Right.
It's hard to come up with a theme for each week, but once I'm able to come up with a theme, my flavors just fall right there.
That's so cool.
It is.
So it changes. Your menu changes weekly, is that right?
Weekly.
And then seasonally as well?
Seasonally
How does that work?
as well. So different seasons call for different fruits, different vegetables, and we just go by seasons as to what kind of fruits we're going to use, if we're even going to use fruits. Some fruits just aren't naturally, in season, and so we're not going to force a fruit to be used when it's not natural.
Yeah.
So we like everything to be natural, sustainable even. We use wooden forks, reusable, compostable boxes. So we like to, have a very natural approach to what we put out.
What are some of your favorites on the menu right now?
Okay.
Personal favorites.
So some of my personal favorites are actually staple pieces, which we do have each week. So if you do come to Dropout Bakery and you're new, you can expect to always see croissants, always see Pop-Tarts, always see cookies. Now, I won't guarantee you'll have the same exact flavor each week, but you will always have a croissant item. And one of my favorite items to eat is the jalapeno turkey Dijon croissant. And
really? Okay.
Yeah, we have that every week. So you got to have the staple butter chocolate croissant, ham and cheese croissant, lemon pepper turkey croissant, but now we have a turkey Dijon jalapeno croissant.
So what are some of the ingredients in that?
Ooh, so we have pepper jack turkey. We have that good, really thick stone ground Dijon. Good butter always goes into everything we make. We don't carry butter that isn't from Ireland. It's delicious. It makes the pastries 100% better. Doesn't matter what other ingredients. If you don't have good butter, you don't have that great of a pastry.
Right.
So we use Kerrygold butter and boar's head turkey that we go get sliced from Greer's.
That's
probably
awesome.
not the most efficient with money, but it's worth.
Oh yeah,
it's
like
worth,
I said, it's quality ingredients. I mean, that's high quality right there. So
yeah, if you're gonna buy a croissant, it needs to be good.
Absolutely.
So
that's awesome.
Where we're at with things.
What about some of the customers that come in? What do they say? What are some of their favorites? What are some of your best sellers?
Yeah, so we actually have been doing eclairs each week as well, and that has become one of the customer favorites.
Okay.
But it's not the top favorite, I will say. Our top two favorites are Pop-Tarts. Everybody always comes in discussing Pop-Tarts. I guess that's not something you can just get anywhere else. Pop-Tarts.
And the box ones are terrible, so.
Yeah, that's not even an option. We gotta have gourmet. So strawberry Pop-Tarts are like number one interesting top seller. The croissants, obviously, because you can't get those either. And then eclairs is our top three.
Okay.
Those are our top three products.
Yep. Mm-hmm. All right, so now we got a lot of moms and parents that listen to the show too. What about for kids? What are some of the if we bring our kids in on a Saturday morning, what can we expect? What are the kids going to be?
Oh, they're going to try.
Like?
They're going to grab everything off the table. They're going to want it all. Got to keep those little hands back because you touch it, you buy it. We do have a really interesting way of displaying our pastries. It's more like a boutique. So we set out our pastries just on the table, flat, beautiful. And I say one of the top things that kids gravitate towards is definitely the Pop-Tarts and the macarons because they're so little and cute.
Yeah.
And they're actually delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are the top two kid
All right,
friendly.
well, I'm going to have to bring the kids in one Saturday.
Bring the kids.
Do it.
I've
seen some of your baked goods at Knuckle Bones and places like. So, do you work with other, local small businesses as well?
Yes, we love to work with other businesses. That's just like a really good way to get. What is the word? No, I'm gonna start that over. What's the word that I'm looking for? Oh, okay.
Support, collaboration.
Yeah, honestly, I love working with other businesses. We work with Knuckle Bones downstairs. We used to work with Chicken District. We work with Kind Cafe, Flying Pig, and if you go to any of those establishments, you can see a croissant from us, a Pop-Tart, maybe even a muffin. What's fun about working with local people is you can share customers, put our customers onto maybe the new coffee shop Knuckle Bones if they've never heard of it,
right,
or vice versa. So it's a really good way to incorporate other businesses, kind of get people talking around town, and it's just fun to support others.
Yeah, definitely. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that a lot.
Yeah.
And that was the other, you said the other place I was thinking. I knew I'd seen your goods somewhere else, and it was Chicken District.
Chicken District.
At the Insider. That's where I'd seen that.
The cookies.
Yeah, that's where it was. The cookies. Yep. So for listeners who haven't had a chance to come by, we've talked about your location. Tell, maybe somebody's hesitant about coming downtown, maybe they're hesitant about parking and all that kind of stuff. Talk about, how easy it is to find you, how easy it is to park, and and get in and get out.
Super understandable if somebody is not dying to go downtown. I will say it's best to come see us downtown because everything is going to be fresh baked that day. And parking, it really isn't that big of a deal. There's parking side on the street. Both sides of the street you can choose from. There's also parking in the back of Innovation Portal. There's a whole parking lot back there that probably most people would just not would think that it would be parking for us. But it is. You're able to park in the back of Innovation Portal, and you can also put in Dropout Bakery in your maps, and it will take you right to us.
Okay.
So you don't even have to guess where we are.
There you go.
Just pull out your maps, type in Dropout Bakery, and it'll take you right to us.
That's perfect.
Easy enough.
What time do we need? Is there a certain time that you sell out by? So say if somebody is not an early riser, could we still come at like 10 a.m., 11 o'clock?
Absolutely. I will say the best option for a non-early riser is to order online the day before, the night before, but not the day of. We do need it to be in the night before. But you can also get a discount online, and it's 10% off your order. Just type in pre-order at the checkout in the discount box.
Very cool.
And 10% off your order. It also saves your box, so you get first pick of everything. We'll hold your box aside until you get there. We sell out around 2 to 1. Some days are earlier, some days are a little bit later if it's spring break or people are at the beach. But I would say it's just safer to pre-order your box online.
That's good to know. That's good to know.
It is. And that 10%.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta have it.
Now, I wanted to ask you, too, because I know you're extremely active on social media. And you know, a lot of that, it's very time sensitive. I wanted to get in kind of, you know, what's your social media strategy? How do you have time to bake, run a business, and be as active as you are on social media?
Yes, so social media is ever so changing. They always change their algorithm, which is super important, actually. You wouldn't think it is if, you know, most people are like, well, I'm posting. Well, that's not enough. They're looking for users that are like perfect golden users. So the algorithm right now is making sure you're posting at least 2 stories a day. And these are things that you actually have to do to move forward in Instagram's eyes, and they'll start pushing your posts to the explore page and things like that. So if you post 2 stories a day, twice a day even is good posting. And I actually have a little helper now. Her name's Kaylee. She's our bakery manager, and I have been teaching her some little ways of mine, teaching her how to do some reels. And most everything you see on Instagram now is brought to you by Kaylee.
Okay, awesome. Shout out Kaylee.
Which is amazing. Yeah, she's doing so good. I'm really picky, and so I'm sure it's hard to work with somebody that's super picky about a little picture. Like, if I see a little bit of the trash can in the picture, we're going to have to retake it.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm just kind of a perfectionist. I like to make sure on my page all my colors are flowing. I just take things to the next level.
Yeah, no, I like that.
So that's something that I pay attention to on Instagram. Also, the world is moving more towards video, so reels are super important. And I'm not great at reels myself, but it's a new little idea, and I'm working on them. Yeah, it's happening. It's in the works over at Dropout Bakery.
Okay,
you come in, and you'll probably see me trying to put together a reel. But yeah, so social media is super important. It got us to where we are today, and
definitely, you do a good job on there for sure.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's
good. I try and keep people engaged.
Yeah,
like polls, you know, all of that is super fun for a watcher.
Yeah,
to be able to engage and put their input. You know, that's something that's super important.
That's one thing about people in Mobile; they stay on their social media just about all day. So
absolutely. So it's getting out there to the audience.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, too, about, you know, feedback from some of your customers. And do you have any great stories that you've heard from some of your customers?
Absolutely. So most of the stories that I just really hold on to is stories from international folks. And whether that be the guy that came in a month or 2 ago from Germany, I just thought that was super cool. He came in and I was like, I know you're not from here. Like, tell me your story. And he was like, I found you on an app that tells me, like, what is around me that's like very close to what I would eat from home.
Oh wow, okay, I didn't know that existed.
Me either. We were on that app, and I was just like, that's
crazy.
Cool. And then, we've got our honeymooners that go to Paris, and they come back saying our croissants are just as good, if not better. That's awesome. A huge compliment.
That is huge.
I've never been to Paris, so like I'm taking their word for it. That's cool. This beautiful Nigerian woman comes in, grabs a piece of our slab cake, and goes over to our little seating area, indulges, and comes back and tells me this beautiful story of how it reminds her of her grandmother's cake.
Oh, wow.
I was like, whoa. Like, that's super cool when something that you make can trigger a memory from somewhere.
That's what's so cool about food. And that's that is how we connect through food.
It's one of your senses.
Yeah.
So it triggers memories.
Yep.
That's the coolest story.
Yeah.
Is the one that triggered her mother, her grandmother's recipe for her cake.
I love that. And I also love the international visitors. I mean, those are always special. I know with Bienville Bites, when we've had international guests, I always try to write it down where they're from and stuff. And last time I've looked, I think it's like 13, 15 different countries. So it's crazy to think that somebody in Australia or South Africa can come to Mobile and find out about you and and
feel
get connected.
Something with the food here.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
Yeah, I love that. Well, what do you think? We're going to kind of wrap up a little bit, but what do you think as far as what's your plans for long term? What's your vision for Dropout Bakery and Company?
So my vision for Dropout Bakery and Company is to expand across the U.S. I would love to have Mobile, Alabama be headquarters, of course. We're never going to go anywhere, so don't worry, anybody. But we would like to venture out to big southern cities, maybe like Nashville or Charleston or Austin, Texas, because we do have like a really trendy vibe. I think that it would do great in a big southern city.
Right.
Maybe even going up north Alabama, like towards Birmingham. But we definitely want to have a few more locations, as well as Dropout University, which is classes. I definitely want to share my love with anybody else who might want to take some classes and have a family-friendly outing.
Yeah.
And even like a little greenhouse to where people can come and pick fresh, like mint or oregano, fresh little things that we can also use in our bakery.
Yeah.
And I just think something fresh and new and where you can learn is kind of the way we want to go towards.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And I love the Dropout University.
Yeah. There is no Dropout University. That doesn't even exist. But it's going to.
Yeah.
It's going to.
Well, good. Well, we'll look back at this episode. We'll have to get you on in a couple of years when you got those other locations.
When we've got Dropout University.
Yeah.
That's too good.
That's cool. All right. Well, our next segment of the podcast is what I like to call Meat and Three. And so we've gotten into the meat of the podcast. And now I've got 3 questions for you, 3 burning questions. Everybody wants to know about Lacey.
Okay.
And the first one is, what is one dish that you think everyone should eat in Mobile right now?
Okay. So my one dish that I think, does it need to be local?
Yeah, local, semi-local.
Needs to be local.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's say Mobile.
Because I love food, so I can get crazy with that. So, oh my gosh, I have so many favorite dishes from Mobile. Oh man. Okay. All right. Here is my favorite dish in Mobile.
Okay.
It is going to be served at Noja.
Okay.
And gotta get the chef seasonal vegetables. I know that sounds like so boring, but they do not make nothing comes out boring there.
That's right.
Not one thing. Carrots, the best carrots you've ever had in your life. Their steak, that's the next thing you have to get.
Yeah.
You have to go with the steak. Skip the lamb, skip the chicken.
Agreed.
Go with the steak. Oh my gosh. And then the Noja potatoes. Half regular potatoes, half sweet potatoes. Amazing.
I like it.
Who would have ever thought? It gives it a little color, a little sweetness, a little savory.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Perfect.
That's
That
good
is my
stuff.
go-to dish is a steak plate from Noja.
I love that.
Steak and potatoes.
I like it. What's your favorite, let's say, date night restaurant in Mobile?
Oh, that was a good date night.
Outside, other than Noja.
My other favorite restaurant to even go on a date would be Noble South.
Yeah.
Love Noble South.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite dish from Noble South is their tuna sandwich.
Really?
Yes.
Okay,
very
that surprised
odd.
me. Yep.
Yeah, very. Like, just the way that they cut their bread. If it's not a triangle, I don't want it.
Yeah.
It's so perfect. And their bread, you can tell it has like grains and just, it's so fluffy and fresh. And the tuna's got a little smoke to it. So
Okay.
you can tell it's very fresh.
All right, let's keep that in
That's
mind
my
then.
favorite.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm such a sandwich girl.
Are you?
So weird. Yes. Yeah. I love sandwiches.
So you've obviously traveled a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's your favorite food city been?
My favorite food city is definitely New York.
It's New York. Okay.
Yes. I was going between 3 places. I was going between New York, Miami, and LA. But LA is like the worst of the 3. So New York's going to take the hat for me.
What do you like in New York?
So there is a hamburger joint that I can't remember the name, but everything is fresh.
Okay.
Like very fresh, coming straight from the fields that are in behind the restaurant, which don't exist. There are no fresh fields behind the restaurant, and this is New York. But everything is so fresh, high quality, and that's what I like. Very high quality gal.
Yeah. I like that. All right, our next segment of the show is Chris's Dishes.
Yeah.
And so I'll tell you about the best dish that I've had in a while.
I'm ready for
and then
it.
And then I'll turn it over to you, and you tell about the best dish you've had in a while too.
Okay, all right.
Outside
Sounds
of
good.
what maybe you've already talked about.
Right. I'll pick another one.
The best dish that I've had over the last week was from Squid Ink.
Oh.
And I went in and it was just a normal lunch day for me. I was going to get the Moptown, the hot chicken sandwich. And I've had it several times before.
Okay.
But they asked me, do I want it with brie cheese? And I was like, well, yeah, of course I want it with brie cheese. And I never knew that you could get it with brie cheese. Never thought about it. I know the Cadillac burger that they have has brie cheese on it. So I know they had some of their burgers with that on it. But I never thought about the Moptown hot chicken sandwich with brie cheese.
Wow.
And that was a game changer.
Did it cool it down a little bit?
It did, yeah. It sure did.
Yum.
And it was so good.
I bet.
It was so good.
Yum.
Loved
that
it.
sounds like a great pairing
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah, it was good.
I'm going to try that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So what about, you'll have to do that. And I think, if they don't ask you for it to, as an upcharge, I think you can tell them,
I'm good
hey,
with it.
want to add the brie cheese to it.
Yeah, I'm good with the upcharge as long
Yeah.
as the brie cheese is on
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Okay.
What's the best dish you've had lately?
So another really good dish that I've been going to get way more than once, way more than a healthy amount, is from Cheese Cottage.
Okay.
Love Cheese Cottage because it's dangerously close to the bakery.
Yeah, it is right down the street.
Yes. So I love the Italian sandwich from
Yeah.
the Cheese Cottage. Have you ever had it?
I have not, no.
Oh my gosh. You have to go get
Okay.
it. So this is a hot sandwich, which I love hot sandwiches.
Yeah, I like a hot sandwich.
I
Yep.
love a hot sandwich. And they have so many different types of meats, salamis, pepperonis, and their meat is like crispy. Like they put their meat on the burner and it is just so crispy. And then with the cheese, it's melted perfectly.
Yeah.
They don't have too much meat on it to where like save your meat. I would rather have less.
Right. And
It's
the cheese is still the
perfect.
backbone of the sandwich.
Oh my gosh. And you know what the best part is it has a little bit of grease coming down into the box, but the chips that they have next to it soaks the grease up.
Yeah.
And I love a greasy chip filled with that flavor. It's just amazing.
That's good stuff.
That's my Sunday grab.
Okay.
Go.
Yeah, we just had Stephanie on the. That was our last episode before you. Was Stephanie from the Cheese Cottage?
Yeah. Oh, love her.
Yeah, she's awesome. Doing a good job over there.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Italian has got my heart.
Well, Lacey, thanks for coming in and talking about Dropout Bakery and Company and all the awesome things you're doing.
Oh, this was
It's been fun.
Thank
Yeah,
you
it's
for
been
having
good.
me here.
I'm definitely, you're going to be seeing me again.
Absolutely.
You're going to be seeing me again, more often, for sure. Especially after this episode. You have my eyes a few things.
Hopefully,
that I'm
it's
coming
not
in to
king
get.
cake season.
The croissants.
Good.
Those kind of things for sure.
Good.
And especially after hearing about your high quality ingredients and all that.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Yeah, come indulge.
That's awesome. Thank y'all for listening to the Port City Plate podcast. I've just been super excited to talk to people that have been out and about, listening to the show, and had a listener, Chastity, up in Central who came on the tour a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, she was talking about how she listened to the podcast and enjoyed it. So I've just been real, excited to talk to everybody out there that's been listening and giving us great reviews and stuff like that. So it's been exciting. I've had fun. And speaking of the tours, we might as well plug some Bienville Bites tours. We just announced our summer tours that we're going to be doing. So our summer theme tours, and I'm super excited about it. So I've been thinking about it all day. So that's kind of what's been on my mind. And for our tour in the month of May, we're going to be doing a brunch tour. So it's going to be the Bienville Brunch Tour. And we're going to be doing Ruby Slipper, Squid Ink, the Bistro St. Emmanuel, Trellis Room will be some of the restaurants that we're going to go to on that tour. And you'll get to, the tour guide will be talking about some influential women in Mobile. So it's kind of centered around Mother's Day, and centered around, teacher appreciation, Nurses Month, stuff like that. Well, then in June, we're going to be doing it's going to be centered around our guys tour, and that's going to be called the BBBQ Tour, and that stands for Burger, Baseball, Brews, and Barbecue. And so that's one of my favorite tours myself. I'll be giving a lot of those tours for sure. You'll have to come out in June, and I'll be talking about, life on the Mobile River, baseball in Mobile, Hank Aaron, Satchel Paige, Civil War history in Mobile. So it'll be, some fun stuff that I think, a lot of the guys be interested in. And of course, the food. The food's phenomenal. It's burgers, and it's chicken wings. We'll have some fried okra from Chicken District, and some local beers, Braided River, and stuff like that along the way too. So, and you can't forget, we'll have, of course, barbecue and banana pudding from Moe's Barbecue. That's always a staple. July, we're going to be doing a trolley tour, and so it'll be our trolley taste venture, where we're going to get in the air conditioning in July and get on board one of those trolleys, and we're going to be going to some different restaurants. We will probably make a stop at Dropout Bakery, I'm sure, on that trolley tour, like we did. We did a Mardi Gras the trolley tour back this past Mardi Gras, and that was one of our stops for some king cake at Dropout Bakery. And so we'll probably do that again. That will probably be our dessert if you come on the trolley tour in July for sure. And then in August is this is going to be the most fun tour I think we've probably ever done at Bienville Bites. And it's going to be an 80s themed murder mystery. And so it's called I Want My MTV. MTV is Murder, Tastings, and Victims. And so you've got to come dressed up in your 80s, so tease your hair and get all that fun 80s swag out of the closet. And that's going to be, it really is, that's going to be one of the most fun tours we've ever done. We've done a lot of the murder mysteries before, but this 80s themed one is going to be the most fun. We'll have some 80s themed cocktails along the way too. I think we've been kind of looking at some of those. We'll have, of course, the Sex on the Beach and, some, anyway, 80s themed cocktails. It'll be a lot of fun. So look forward to having y'all on the tours the next couple of months, and look forward to, like I said, talking to y'all out in the public and talking about the podcast. So I appreciate y'all and subscribing and listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode.